Get kicked off with our presentation today. We had a lot of questions coming off of the last couple presentations around, the app, how to use the app, how to integrate it, when to integrate it, how to talk about it, how to get people on it. So excited to walk through some of that stuff with y'all today. Have your questions ready. This is an exciting time. It's an exciting time for a lot of reasons. The mortgage industry is challenging right now. I think it's fair to say. And, the fact that we get to tell a different story and the fact that we get to sell a different product makes it should, in my opinion, make it one of the most exciting times to be in this business, right? Because you can go take market share and adopt clients in ways that other real estate agents and other mortgage lenders just can't do. There is a heavy amount of need, just an incredible need for financial confidence and personal financial confidence in our society today. I mean, think of what people are going through, right? Inflation's up, so they're managing debt. They're having to navigate ever-changing economic conditions. They're, a ton of investment risk. Nobody knows where to put money. Inflation continues to rise. People are struggling to save money or build savings, at least build savings habits. And the lack of personal financial knowledge, it just leads to a perpetual cycle of bad decision making. And we get to help our clients not do that, right? We get to help our clients, change their trajectory and help them towards generational wealth. And so, I want everyone to think of the mortgage industry the way it's always been. And if you have a blank piece of paper in and around you, I probably should have planned for this. If we're going to completely reimagine what it means to be mortgage professionals and real estate professionals, we need to start with a blank piece of paper. And unfortunately, the mortgage industry and real estate industry have been done the same way. Now, what people are trying to do right now is they're trying to, okay, how do we save 10% or 20% in expense? Or how do we make 10 or 20% more in revenue? As opposed to thinking, what if we could be 10 or 20 times better, right? What if we could create value for the consumer that's 10 to 20 times better than anything they've ever experienced before in our industry? So the analogy that I heard about this, which I thought was great, was think of a car company, right? A car company has a car that goes 50 miles per gallon. So great gas mileage, especially today. All right, and they're trying to figure, okay, how do we get 55 miles per gallon? And they could do that with the same model, right? They lighten the car a little bit, create some efficiencies. They could find an extra, 10% miles per gallon. But what they should be asking is, how do we get to 500 miles per gallon? All right, to do that, you need to completely throw out the previous blueprint or the playbook. You need to start with a clean sheet of paper. Think of companies like Amazon, Tesla, Google, right? These companies started with a clean sheet of paper and they reimagined what online shopping could be, what online search could be, what cars could become, right? Talk about miles per gallon. And those things couldn't be created with small adjustments to an already existing platform, right? Like nobody else was coming up with these the way that Tesla was or these other companies. So if we try and put our client first, which is really what all three of those companies did, right? They said, how do we make an incredible consumer online shopping experience? How do we make it easy for people to find things online? How do we, help somebody never have to get gas, right? What they did is they started with the end and they worked backwards towards the product. And that's what we believe we're doing here at Art of Homeownership. So what I'm going to go over today is how we have that conversation with our clients, how we integrate them into the system, how we adopt, hundreds, if not thousands of clients, which we'll probably run a contest on here shortly once the app is out. But I don't know if there's been a more exciting time for me, because every real estate agent I talk to, every client I talk to, every mortgage professional or real estate professional I talk to, financial planner, I just get to tell them something new and different and exciting, right? I get to inject energy and passion and commitment into an industry that really needs it, right? It's pretty stale right now. right? There's a lot of mortgage zombies walking around, right? There's a lot of real estate zombies walking around, right? We have the tools to completely change that. And it starts with the end user in mind. So anybody have any questions or comments or anything they want to add before we jump into today's presentation? All right, feel free to raise your hand, type it in the chat box. Love to add you as a panelist. We can have the conversation right here. So please feel free. Get your creative mind coming as well, right? If there's things that you think you can do with the app or want to do with the app, or how to, how to use the services better, feel free to share because we want to make sure that we're ideating through those. All right, let me share my screen and we'll jump off here. Okay, move this over. Slideshow. All right. So most of the questions and most of the comments were about, okay, we love the app, we love the system, right? We love the services. How do we implement it into the process? And that's the biggest, right? That's probably one of the biggest problems, is that we've all been doing the loan process the same way for so many years, right? Now we need to figure out how to inject something of incredible value that the client doesn't know that they want nor need, in a way that doesn't throw off the normal cycle, in a way that's additive to that process. So first question was, how will you be positioning the platform differently with the app? Previously, to have an Art of Homeownership app, we talked about how to use the Art of Homeownership in their normal day-to-day, right? How to use the relocation technology when they're moving, how to use the home concierge as they own the home. But we really want to run as much of that now through the app as like their central hub. Because if you think about how frequently we will be used as an industry, it's a scary thought. We used to now think about this. If you've been in the industry for the past 11, 12 years, we were pretty frequently used. I mean, there's some clients that we've helped 7 or 8 times over a 10-year span, over 11-year span. Right, because they bought a home and they refinanced it, and then they bought an investment property, and then they bought a new primary residence and they refinanced that twice on the way down, and then they sold that home, there was just a lot of buying and selling because the market was going straight up, interest rates were going straight down, right? So there's a lot of opportunity to be a really frequently used service, right? In both advice and planning and in normal transactions. We're going to be pretty infrequently used now. Right. And we can't afford that. We don't want that. And our clients shouldn't want that. So we want to be utilized as a company on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. So now we're positioning our value proposition to the consumer. If I'm working with George as my client, right? The next question is, will you still introduce each feature of the platform along? And then at which stage of the process will you introduce the app? So I think sequencing this is probably going to be important this morning. When I initially start talking to George, questions I'm going to ask, right? Because whether they found me online, whether they referred to me, whether they, even if they're a past client, right? Now, past client, I'm going to do it a little bit differently, but I'm going to say, George, I know you referred to me by Mary, your realtor, and I'm really excited to help you all. Did Mary tell you what makes us so unique and different as a mortgage lender? More often than not, unless Mary is really good, George is going to say no. And right then and there, I'm going to say, well, good, gives me an opportunity to help you understand it. So George, most mortgage companies, unfortunately, are just focused on selling you debt, right? You're going to fill out an application online. They're going to look at some documents. They're going to send you a pre-approval letter. You'll find a home. And then ultimately, they'll help you close that loan, and then you'll be on your way. That's been the standard for the last 80 plus years. At XYZ Home Loans, we are a Art of Homeownership partner. And my team specifically is focused on not just helping you own a home, but we're focused on helping you become the most successful homeowner you can be in every aspect of real estate or finance. And if I'm honest, that's why most of our clients choose us. Right? It's not because we have the absolute lowest interest rate. No, we're highly competitive when it comes to interest rates. Right? And that's why we're one of the top lenders in the county or in the country. We have amazing customer service, which you can go online and see and love. But there's a lot of companies that can claim they have good customer service. A lot of companies can claim they have good low interest rates. But almost no other mortgage company or team will commit to helping you in any substantial way after closing. So what I want to do is, when we get off the call here today, we're going to go through this. I'm going to, ask you some questions, and we'll schedule a time to do the consultation, right? I want to first learn more about some of your dreams and goals and what you want to accomplish. But after we get off this, I'm going to enroll you into our Art of Homeownership system. So I'll put your information into our system, and you will get an email immediately afterwards, within a couple minutes, that will introduce you to the Art of Homeownership. It will have a link to where you can download an app on your phone, and it will have a code, right, that you can create. And this app is going to be one of the basis of how we're going to help you for the next 30 plus years. And so I want to make sure you understand it and see it and fully grasp what it's going to do and how it's going to help you. Also, what it can do, George, is if you fill out all the information, if you upload your banking information, if you put in all your stuff there, it can actually help us get your documentation as well. You may not need to send us nearly as much documentation because you can upload everything right through that app. It'll connect automatically with all your bank statements. It'll do a lot of that stuff. And then it will also keep track of all that, help you with budgeting, help you with credit monitoring. So I'll explain that more when we get into our consultation. But I just want to let you know, you're going to get a lot more than just a mortgage here, which we are really excited about. So we'll break down how we help you before the transaction, how we help you get your offer accepted, how we help you stand out in a competitive market, how we help you save money on the price of the home, how we help you with education and planning and financial guidance to make sure you're in the right, you're making the right decisions. And then we're going to talk about the during process, right? How we help protect your earnest money during the contract, our time frames on which we close, our contract meeting to make sure you're confident in whatever decision you make. And then we're going to get into the after part of what we do, but we'll get into more of that in the consultation. I just wanted to make sure you knew what made us different and unique. So let's get into some of your questions, right? That's your 2-minute, maybe 3-minute conversation around what makes you unique and different before you get into it. And then when you get done, the same way you would send an email with, a link to your online app, which again, I don't ever recommend doing. You want to take the application over the phone and then send a link saying, really enjoyed talking to you. We signed you up for the Art of Homeownership, because you literally just go right into your system here. Let me go pull it over. So this is my version, right? And you guys all have your own, your own page. So I'm just going to go in here. I'm going to put in George Buyer, phone, email, address, all that stuff, renter, homeowner, right? And then get in contact. And George is going to get an email that says, welcome to Art of Homeownership, within 2 minutes. It will have the link for him to download the app on his phone. It will have your own personal code, right? So he goes into your ecosystem. And then you'll just want to follow up with George, later that day or tomorrow, whatever your normal follow-up cadence is, and just make sure, hey, want to make sure you got that, want to make sure you got the app and downloaded it. If you had a chance to connect your bank statements, it's always super helpful, right? Because then we can just get that information from you. So this is going to be the best way to get somebody into it up front. Any questions about just that first phone call and how to get somebody to utilize the app, how to introduce Art of Homeownership, and how to do all that in the introductory call? Chat, Q&A, raise hand. All right, we got some hands being raised here. Let's go with Matt first here. Matt, what's going on, bud?
Hey, Ryan, I just jumped on, so I just want to make sure I understood this. As far as I'm receiving the app link, as long as we have them fill out, or we fill out the form on our AoH website, they'll automatically get an email to set up the app?
Correct. So right now, what happens is if somebody goes to your page, or you input their, whoever inputs their information here, when they hit this button, they're going to get an email today that says, welcome to Art of Homeownership. Here's all the things you get. Here's all the things you want to know. Opt into our form of communication. But what we're adding now is, to each one of your campaigns, we'll be adding the link to the app at the App Store, where they can go find it. And then your own individual code will be set into your CRM. So when they put in the code, they're going to go right into your version of it. Okay.
Do they get the app with that first introduction email, or does it follow past that?
They get the link to the app in that first introduction email. That will give them instructions. Click here to download the Art of Homeownership app, or in your case, the Neo Experience app. And then here's your code when it asks for it. So then they put in the code, and then they'll have your link. They'll see on the app, they'll see your information as their financial partner, right? And all the stuff that goes from there.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, great question. I don't know if there's any other hands raised. Maybe y'all can help me with this. Cynthia's asking, is the app, well, hold on, start. Okay, there's a lot of them here. James asking, will the updater tech be embedded into that initial input? James, the updater tech is included on the app, and it's talked about in the initial email. Is there, I'm not sure what else you're asking there. If you want to raise your hand or unmute yourself, feel free to ask. Cynthia is asking, is the application live? AoH team, I think it's going live in July, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, so Cynthia, it'll be going live very shortly. James, what do you got, man?
Ryan, I was just curious about that updater. I've always, so before I joined Neo, I was using the Art of Homeownership separately, and I recognized that I had to individually kind of input people into updater outside of the app. Like there wasn't like a single point of entry. And so now it seems like updater's embedded in the Neo experience, app piece, but they're still going to have to drill in, add their new address, their old address, date of moving and everything. I used to just do that on my own.
Yeah.
I kind of think there's enough friction in that it'd probably be best practice for us to continue to do that. What do you think of that?
It's a great question. James, here at Neo, we have our client experience team, right? So all you need to do is just let her know when it goes into contract, and she'll do all that, right? So she'll go in, put them in, launch it, and get it going. But for anybody else, if you guys have client experience or whatever the case may be, if you have a teammate, when they go live in contract, you still need to go in and you need to, put in that information and launch it for them. I should say you should do that. You don't need to. The client could do it through the app themselves, but
they won't know to do that, I don't think. And then also, in our branch, would you say that Sherman would be the one trained to?
No, that's client success. Bianca is regional. She'll help you with it.
We could bring Bianca in on that. Okay.
100%.
Got
it. Yep. David is asking, is that email with the invitation link already built into Daily AI CRM? So we don't. Yes, I think we already answered that. Gabe is saying, is there a limit to number of users we can have using AoH? I do not believe that there is. Gabe, the only thing that you want to know is the more people that we have utilizing AoH or the Neo experience, your cost could go up and it would go up if they all are in HomeBot. So HomeBot is the only thing that's going to add increased cost per member, just because they increase it every 500 people. David's saying, if so, what drip campaign name for this so I can view it? Dave, just get with the AoH team on that and they'll walk you through it. It's an automatic email that comes out when they sign up through this. Laura already answered that. Val answered the rollout. Is there any reason to use Art of Homeownership verbiage interchangeable with Neo experience? So I think it's good. It's a good question, James. If you work at Neo Home Loans, you always want to call it the Neo experience. If you don't, you want to call it the Art of Homeownership. If you're at a company that wants to utilize this at a larger level, like an enterprise account, we can white label it for any company. That's really what we've done here at Neo, is we've white labeled Art of Homeownership as the Neo experience. So if you're at ABC Home Loans and you have people on the app to do an enterprise account, then we can white label it with your company's information as well. So everyone here at Neo, just understand that we are the Neo experience powered by the Art of Homeownership. And again, we're open to doing that for any company that has enough people on the platform. Good question. Okay, let's keep rolling here. So now to the question of, will you still introduce each of the platform? Let me come back to that. So click through this. We talked about how to communicate your high-level value proposition and when, right? So the first phone call is when you start, and then what stage to break down each part of the platform, right? And when to introduce and give access to each, specifically relocation services, to James's point. So I think this is going to help you here. This is, James, you have your hand up still, or is that a different question? No, hand down. Okay, cool. So this is something that I would show your clients in the consultation. All right, this is, Sosi Avil actually created this for us. So shout out to Sosi for that. This is something that we want to make it really clear what the client gets. Full disclosure, we created this thing, earlier today. We'll probably clean it up, make it look a little nicer. But I wanted to show you guys that this is what you should show your clients in the consultations, because what I would do is, in my consultations with clients, I page up, right? So I have this here. And when I, in a normal consultation, which again, if you go into the e-learning platform of Art of Homeownership or the Neo Way, you'll be able to watch how we exactly do our client consultations, right? Our presentations to our clients. We start with how we helped them before. And then we move into how we help them during, and then we get into after. And after is all Art of Homeownership, right? And so this is where I would say, I pull this up and say, all right, George, this is what the home concierge is going to do, right? This is what your monthly real estate wealth digest is going to do. This is your annual financial review, perfect mortgage promise, right? So I go through all these things with them and I explain how important it is, because without these things, they're just going to own a home. But with these things, they can become really successful homeowners that grow generational wealth, and they do things that they wouldn't have done otherwise. Right. So getting back into this, I can say, look, we're going to give you really proactive advice and guidance. We're going to do a post-closing call after closing, explaining the next 30 years of our partnership. Right. You're going to have a dedicated customer success manager, right, that helps you with everything from first payment and servicing questions. They're going to do three months, 6 months, 12 months calls just to make sure you're navigating the first year really well. And then every single year, we're going to do annual financial reviews to help you through the changes and evolutions that you'll inevitably have in life. And I promise you, this makes all the difference in the world on if you just own a home or if you become a successful homeowner, right? The tools you're going to have the home concierge, which we showed you. You're going to get the monthly real estate wealth digest. We're going to ensure you're always in the right loan at the right time. And we have people and technology helping you accomplish that, right? You want to make sure you're using the Financial Freedom app. And we'll create a page on the websites where you can show the client what that app is going to do for them. Ideally, at this point, they already have it on their phone, right? Because you've talked to them about it on the first phone call. So I would bring it up here and say, it's not live yet, but what I intend on doing and what I intend our team to do is, have the client pull out their phone right there in the consultation. And if they're in person, great. If they're on Zoom, awesome. And just say, hey, did you download that Financial Freedom app? Did you get a chance to look at it? Anything we can help you with there? If not, let's do it right now. Just go to the App Store, type in Art of Homeownership, or type in the Neo Experience. Both those apps will come up. Download it real quick. Here's your code. Put it in. Take a look at it. This is how we're going to help you really, really closely for the next 30 plus years in ways that mortgage companies just aren't doing, which is unfortunate. Right? We're going to make sure you're perpetually approved for a loan, which is really cool, George, because you may buy this home, but 12 months from now, rates may come down, right? And when rates come down, I want to be able to lock your loan on that day, right? Our technology will tell us to do that. And if you're perpetually approved for your loan, all you have to do is push your data over to us from the app. We'll get your updated bank statements. We'll get your updated income. We'll get your updated credit. All of it will move over. You don't need to get us much, if anything, and we can go ahead and help you with your new loan. Same thing if you want to buy an investment property, if you want to buy a new home. So having you perpetually approved through our system is just going to be incredible for you. And ultimately, you'll have access to our relocation technology when you do buy and sell homes, which is, when you go into contract, we'll help you with that. We have capital partners that are going to help you with, pre-sales home renovation to upgrade your home without having to pay for it prior to selling it to maximize your return on investment. We'll help you, buy your new home with all cash if necessary. That way you don't have to sell your departing residence first. Right? And you'll always have these available as a client of ours. And then me and my team, we are going to be really proactive in giving you guidance and advice. So we're going to make sure that as your equity increases, we're going to help you plan on how to utilize that equity in the best way possible. We're going to help you, maybe you're thinking of moving up or down or out of the area. We'll help you with a financial transition plan, which I need to spell better apparently. And we'll help you move in understand how to transition from one home to the next in the most financially appropriate way for your long-term goals, right? We'll help you manage your liabilities, right? You're going to have debt that increases and decreases and when to pay it down. We're going to help you with generational wealth planning with parents and children, and then help you plan for future real estate goals that you wouldn't plan for otherwise, typically, without us, being proactive in that nature. And then lastly, we're going to make sure that you have all of these people, assuming that you need them or want them, in your corner, right? So your real estate team, right? Mary, the real estate professional, and I work really closely together, and we're always going to be giving you the right advice and guidance. Financial planners, assuming they're necessary, we're going to make sure we connect you with people we know, like, and trust, and work in collaboration with them. Estate attorneys for wills or trusts, which 70% of America doesn't have. And then tax advisors to make sure that you're always maximizing your tax benefits as a homeowner, and as the tax laws are constantly changing. So I'll leave you with this document as well, right? You can email it to them. You can hand it to them if you're there. But that's the way to really encompass everything we do in one page, along with the utilization of your website, right? That way you can show them all these services, because people are very visual. So let me stop there. We got some stuff in the chat here. Jason is saying, just want to confirm the app downloading being a part of the onboarding is not currently live, but will be next month as of right now. Laura answered that. Not sure what that means. Okay. So any questions, comments, concerns, or feedback about how to break down each part of the platform and when to introduce it? Again, you talk about it on the first phone call. You send them the app on the first phone call, so they have it. Hopefully by the time you do the consultation with the client, they already come in with the app. Hopefully they've already used it. They've already, put in their banking information. They put in their credit information. Right? Like, you'll have most of what you need for that client to be really successful, prior to that consultation. And then in the consultation, before, during, after, which is Art of Homeownership / Neo experience. All right. Okay. And then, from there, they're approved, they're fully underwritten, they're pre-approved, they're out in the community, right? At that point, you're just following up with them as normal. When they go into contract, that's when you do your contract meeting. That's when you launch the updater relocation technology. Now, again, best practice is either you personally go in and enter it for them into updater through your account, and then they'll get the email and they'll get it, right? They'll have everything on their phone, right? They'll get a notification. Or, obviously, if you have a team member, whether it's in your branch or in your region or at your company, they can do that for you. That'd be great to be able to, offload that to somebody who is more appropriate to do that work. Worst case scenario, if you don't have the time, or if you don't have a team member that will do that, then, just make sure the client knows, hey, just go on your app, go to the relocation technology, click that. It'll take you to the updater site, and then just, put in your new home address, your old home address, and everything you need will be right then and there. Like, you'll kind of give them the advice to go do that. Again, I'd recommend doing it on your own if you can, but if not, delegate it to the consumer. All right. So before I get into navigating rate conversations, which is, something that we've been asked about, I want to just check and see if anybody has any other questions on how to talk about this, when to talk about it, how to use it. Let's see. Alicia says, from my understanding, we couldn't upload realtors to our trusted professionals on our AoH website. Where will they see that information you listed under wealth resources? Great question. So what she's talking about, let me pull that back up here, is your trusted professional page. The reason you cannot put your realtors on this page is because it's a RESPA violation. Same way you can't put insurance providers like homeowners insurance, because both of them are overseen by RESPA. And so it is a violation to put them on this page. But estate planning attorneys, CPAs, financial plan, family law practices, and contractors, those people are not RESPA overseen, nor is there any exchange of value being given back or forth. These are the people that can help those clients. The reason we put the real estate agents in there is because they are definitely a wealth resource. If they want to have their advertisement as a part of it, they can sign up as an Art of Homeownership partner right along with you. Again, I highly recommend they do that, because not only do we as mortgage professionals need a very, very different story to tell, so do they. I mean, they're typically talking to way more prospective homeowners and current homeowners than we are. They should just sign all those people up, right? They should adopt all of those prospective buyers and current homeowners into their system, which means they're adopting them into your system, right? So that's why you should really be connecting with all of your real estate partners and saying, hey, if you want to change the real estate industry, right? If you want to have every single person you talk to, you know, adopt them, right? And get them into your system and ultimately help them with the transaction down the line, I have the thing for that. And you can change your whole value proposition as a real estate agent, right? Through our system. That just means they have to work with you as a mortgage planner. Brent saying the slide will be killer. Thanks, man. And then we have something in the chat. Could we have another miscellaneous category added into our daily AI system, AoH Trust Professional page? Add people from profession isn't listed there, such as attorney with a different focus or health insurance broker. Potentially. Let's talk about that, Dave. I haven't had enough time to really think through that. Challenge is, you know, at that point, people start putting in, you know, plumbers and electricians and all the people that really should be handled by the home concierge, right? Because that's really where you want those people to go for those types of services. But other types of attorneys, insurance, health insurance brokers, those could potentially go there as well. So let us talk through that. AoH team, if you could just take that as a takeaway, that'd be awesome. Okay, any other questions before I move to rate conversations? From what I've heard, people are talking about interest rates these days. So let's help through that. Leveraging your value proposition to make rate less of a factor, right? What is features of AoH do you focus on to really drive home the value? So we'll go through. Oh, sorry, let's do this too fast here. One of the things I've always done, especially since, you know, we created Art of Homeownership, was I always tell people out of the gate that we are not the cheapest. It's one of the first things I say. Because if they are expecting me to be that, I'd much rather have that conversation in the first 5 minutes of a phone call than 2 months after helping a client, right when they go into contract and they go work with Loan Monkey because they have a 1/4 point better interest rate. So immediately out of the gate is why I asked the question, do you know what makes us unique and different? No. Awesome. Here's what other lenders do. Here's what we do. Now, George, over 70% of our clients choose us not because we're the lowest rate or have the best customer service, which we do pride ourselves on being very competitive, having amazing customer service, but they choose us because of how valuable we are to them and what we commit to them for the next 30 plus years. Unfortunately, the mortgage industry has only taught you and everybody else that you just need a cheap mortgage. But what you really need, if you want to become wealthy and a successful homeowner, is you need constant advice and guidance and planning, and you need a team that's proactive in that nature. So, you know, when our clients come back to us years later and say, man, like, look what we've done because we've worked with you. Like, look at the number of homes we were able to acquire. Look at the amount of money we were able to save. Look at the connections that we made. Look at the life we've created because of how you've helped us navigate it. Like, there's nobody can, you know, save an 1/8 or a 1/4 of their way on a mortgage rate to become wealthy. So we'll go over more of that in the consultation, right? And I just want to make sure that you understand it, and we'll go from there, right? They're going to hammer you real quick if they're a rate shopper. Well, you know, I really need the lowest rate. Okay, well, let's have that conversation. Right? Why is a low rate important to you? What does it mean? What are you trying to accomplish? Right? But you want to hammer that head on. Typically, you know, almost every time I have that conversation, people are always like, wow, that's cool. That sounds great. I'm looking forward to learning more about it. And then it gives me the opportunity to get the application, work through it, and then have the face-to-face meeting, you know, or the the digital meeting via Zoom. When I get into the consultation, right, we go through the full underwritten approval, you know, good as cash offer, remove contingencies. We're going to do all this stuff for you, but we just need 3 things. You guys have all heard me say this, so I apologize if it's repetitive. We just want to make sure that you're okay getting us more documentation than normal. Yep, great. We want to make sure that you're going to be writing offers in the next 30 days, because otherwise, no need for you to go through all the hassle and for us to pay our team to do it. We can just do it when you're ready. No, I'm ready. Let's go. Great. Last thing is we just want to make sure that you're certain that we're the right lending partner for you. If you're committed to us, we're going to go do all this work and get you that golden ticket to help you get an offer accepted. Well, I don't know about that. Okay, great. Let's talk through it, right? More often than not, you're gonna get a client that says, yeah, you guys are awesome. Let's do it. What do we need to do to get started, right? So you're gonna get that verbal commitment in the consultation, which now gives the opportunity to continue to move forward. And then at the end of that consultation, you're going to say, hey, because you've chose us, this is what we're going to do after, right? So you really hammer, and then at each point, you need to ask, do you see how valuable that is and how much you need it? That's a really important question that I don't know if I've ever expressed before. When you're going through the art of home ownership and you're talking about the home concierge and all the stuff we do and perfect mortgage promise and annual financial reviews, value is only real if it's realized on both sides. We think it's valuable and they don't. It's not valuable, right? So you have to ask, George, if we call you every single year and we're helping you navigate the changes and evolutions in your life and we're proactively managing your mortgage, do you see how impactful that can be to your overall wealth? Does that make sense? Yeah, this is great. Awesome. Home concierge, do you see how important that could be to save you thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars on your home? Yeah, that's awesome. Great. You want to keep getting the reinforcement, right? But if they get to the point where they say, you know what, I'm just not sure, we don't know where the rates are going to be when we go into contract, if they're going to be higher or lower, and we're already kind of stretching, and we've been told that we should shop around for rates, then you need to hammer that head on. And the most important thing I can tell you is you need to be excited for that to happen. I'm going to reiterate that. When someone challenges you that you need to be the best rate or that they're going to shop around, that needs to be your Super Bowl moment. Like, run out of the tunnel, smoke going, it's blazing. Like, you need to be pumped to have that conversation. And you need to be so committed to it that how you say it gets them to feel it. I've never met a single person who does that well who doesn't have what we do, because they keep saying the same shit. Sorry for my language, but they keep saying, well, no, we're going to close on time, and it's important that you close on time or you're going to lose your money. And, we have great customer service and other people don't really call you back. And it's like, right? Like, everyone's saying the same damn thing. When we get to tell a different story and sell a different product, right? Now they start to realize, oh, okay, yeah, there's more to this. Right? I've taken their scope from 30 days and I've expanded it to 30 years. And I've brought in their parents and their children into that conversation. Right? I've really got them to look at the field differently. So if they challenge you and say, I'm not sure, then you go, let me do this. I'm going to show you what we're going to do for you. We already talked about before, which is incredibly important, and you're doing it now. We talked about during, which is also incredibly important, but other lenders could potentially do those. Let me show you what nobody else is going to do for you and why this is important. Go through it and then ask again. Now, do you believe we're going to be the best lender for you? And do you feel that we should move forward with fully underwriting your loan and helping you look like a cash offer? Yeah, totally. Great. Let's go. And if still not, you got more work to do, right? But you've tackled it there as opposed to a month later when they go into contract. And to the last point, how do you decide if it's ultimately not a good fit? If you've told them everything you're willing to do, right? And you say, George, I want to make this an easy decision for you. I really do. So first, I want to help you shop for other lenders. I'm going to email you after this consultation. I'm going to email you a list of questions, and all these questions are in the e-learning platform. Right. So I'm going to email you a list of questions that when you're talking to other lenders, I want you to ask those questions. Right? Because I believe that they're incredibly important, because almost every lender is going to tell you the same thing. Most lenders right now, unfortunately, they're quoting super low rates, but they're not telling you the points associated with them, because you're not in contract. It doesn't matter. They'll tell you whatever you want to know, right? Like, we can offer 3, just cost 10 points, right? So we want to be upfront and honest with you, right? We want to be conservative in our estimates for interest rates. That way, if they go up, we know we have a cushion. But I want you to ask other lenders these questions. I would love for you to do that within the next couple of days, right? Because we know what the market's doing, and you expressed that you want to do this soon. I'm gonna schedule some time with you. Today's Wednesday. Let's talk Friday afternoon, right? You'll have had the chance to do that. I'd love to know their answers to these questions. And then at the end of it, it'll be a super easy decision, because you'll either decide that you just want a really cheap mortgage and that you're comfortable doing all the things that I just showed you on your own for the next 30 years. And you believe that you're going to manage your wealth. You're going to know what to do with your home equity at all times. You're going to, this page right here is the game changer when it comes to, getting people to really understand it. Go to your page, pull up the perfect mortgage promise and say, if you really believe that you're going to ask and answer all these questions on your own, right, which most people aren't, then you should probably, you're going to do all these things that could make or break thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars. If you want to take all that on, or you believe you're well equipped, or you have the team of people already do it, you should just take the cheapest mortgage, honestly, right? Because there's about 1% of the country that probably doesn't need all that we do. They just need cheap, right? Because they can handle the rest of it. It's a very small number of people, but if you're one of those, take the cheapest. If you're not, I can tell you with actual confidence, right, with unequivocal confidence, we will be the most valuable person in your life when it comes to real estate or finance for the next 30 plus years. The money that you think you will make or save by, saving a quarter point of your interest rate will pale in comparison to the wealth that we will help you create over time. So do your shopping. I'll follow up with you on Friday. We'll go over this one more time and we'll make our decision. That's when you know if it's a good fit or not, right? That's how you ultimately decide. So looks like we have some questions here. Maybe, let's see. We'll send it out. Thank you. Mike said, oh, hold on. Love it. Where can we find the list of questions in the Learning Center? So let me go here. Art of Homeownership. There may be a faster way to get to the Learning Center, but if there is, I don't know. So go to log in. Type in your info. This is one of the things I love about the Learning Center is you literally just type in questions to help your client shop for other mortgage professionals, right? Pull it up. There you go. It's even got the script for you, right? Like when this comes up, what you should say, all the questions to send over, and then the follow-up strategy. So let me go back here. You're welcome, Mike. All right. So in our last, couple minutes together, we want to really encourage engagement with each feature. So one of the questions that was asked was, how do you, aside from introducing, how do you encourage clients to leverage each tool? Do you walk through the platform with them? One of the best things that we've recently started doing is on the post-closing calls, we do them via Zoom now. I used to do every post-closing call just on the phone, and I'd chat about it, and I'd say, hey, you're now enrolled in Art of Homeownership, you're going to get this email, and it's going to have all the steps, but we really didn't get the engagement. And it hit me one day, I'm like, I tell every person, right, why they should meet with their clients face-to-face is because clients are bad auditory learners, but they're really great visual learners, right? We emotionalize it, we keep it. If I'm just telling somebody over the phone, hey, congratulations, George, so happy that you closed. Now, make sure, when you get this, here's your this, that. I mean, I go on for 10, 15 minutes. I don't know if he's watching sports or news, or I don't know what's going on back there. But if I do a Zoom with him and I, pull this up and I say, George, this is why you want to use the home concierge. This is why the monthly wealth digest is so important. This is the questions we're going to go over in the annual financial review. Like if I go through these things with him and I say, you're going to get the email to connect with these things, and you already have the app on your phone. I'm going to tell you, George, the people who use our app most consistently, they become the most successful homeowners we have, because they're looking at their budget, right? We've set a plan to buy an investment property 5 years down the line, and that's built into their budgeting, right? It's part of our real estate strategy, right? They're monitoring their credit through the app the whole time. They can see it if it's changing, right? They're looking at their home values and their home, their real estate wealth digest on a monthly basis through the email we send and through the application, right? They're perpetually approved for mortgages. So at any point, if an opportunity comes up, they can use it. So my recommendation, George, would be to use your Art of Homeownership app at least weekly, if not daily, right? Like you want to always have a good understanding of what your net worth is, how it's changing, right? Kind of gamify it if you can, right? But ultimately, I believe that tool, not only will it connect you to all the other tools we have through our system, but that will really give you, the financial acuity you need to be successful moving forward, along with our team and our consistent follow-up. So that would be how I would, recommend introducing it long-term through the platform is do your post-closing call via Zoom, have them see it because but it could have been 4 months ago that they saw it, right? If you did your consultation with them in, March and they just now closed on the property, right? Because it took a long time for them to get into contract, they would have forgotten 90% of what you said. So the post-closing call or, the contract meeting and the post-closing call are going to be really important to reintroduce that. And then lastly, what kind of follow-up once the loan closes to see if they're using the tools or have questions about them? Super important here, right? This is where'd it go? 1 second. Oh, sorry, it's here. This is where this comes into play, right? So you should be doing, your team, for those of you who don't know, Art of Homeownership has a customer success manager team, right? So if you just find that you're like, man, I'm just not doing my 3-month calls, I'm not doing my 6-month calls, I'm not doing my annual financial reviews, I just don't have time or I'm not getting to it and I feel bad because I told the clients they're going to get that and they're not. I asked my coach one time, I said, hey, who should do these follow-up calls, right? Like, should I do them? He looks at me, he says, whoever's going to do them. And it was just this light bulb that went off. And it's like, if someone is just focused on that activity, right? Like somebody is solely focused on helping my clients after closing, right? Introduce them to my, to my trusted professional team, asking the right questions, right? Like going through the process, asking them if they're using all of the services and giving, engaging with them, asking them about first payment and servicing questions, knowing that they're there. Like for, 20, 30 families a month, that's a full-time job, right? And then it compounds as you go. So if you guys aren't, if you're an Art of Homeownership partner and you don't have a dedicated customer success manager, reach out to Art of Homeownership team. We're doing it for quite a few people on the platform right now. You pay a fraction of the cost of what you would pay to hire somebody full-time and do it full-time. But the lift you get, the emails that come out with your realtor included saying, hey, I just had an annual financial review with the Smiths. This is what we went over. They want to plan for XYZ from real estate. Your realtor is going to be like, holy crap. Like, I've never had a lender do that before. Like, I can't imagine having another lender now, right? When I know that there's a lender out there that's doing this. So that's how you get to ensure that they engage is, you're doing a 3-month call. Hey, I just want to make sure that you're, utilizing all the tools. Have you, are you using the home concierge? Have you been looking at your monthly wealth digest? How often are you using the app? Do you feel it's helpful? What feedback do you have for us? Like all of that stuff is going to be helpful. 6-month call. And then every single year you're checking in on it again. And then there'll be a way for you to track all the app usage, for all your members as well. So you can kind of look at it and see who's using it there as well. And ultimately, team, and I'll end with this before I open it up for questions and comments. Your measure of success for the next 100 years, however many years you're going to do this, should have zero to do with the number of loans you close. It should have zero to do with the number of families you help. I realize that's how you make your money. I totally get it. So I understand that there's some component of that, but your real measure of success should be how successful your clients become over time. And you can track that through the app. You can see how often they're using it, how often they're engaging, how often they're talking to your client success team, how often they're engaging in the annual financial reviews, the advice you're giving them. And over time, you'll be able to look back and see how much wealth you've created for these clients that they would not have created for themselves. Because again, wealth has nothing to do with money, it has everything to do with information. So that's how we really disrupt this industry. That's the clean sheet of paper I'm talking about that I talked about in the beginning. We can completely stop thinking about the way we did and start thinking about, okay, because 99% of America is never going to reach out to a financial planner because they don't have enough money for the financial planner to manage. Most of them are going to have to just flounder on their own. As a mortgage industry, most of those people are going to raise their hand and just wonder if they can buy a property. That's our opportunity to make the most significant impact for the largest number of people in the country today. That should be your measure of success. Adopt as many people onto this platform you can, help them proactively, and then watch them how many transactions you can help them with over time, because nobody is going to figure it out on their own. I keep saying this. Like, I was at a conference speaking to an audience full of real estate and mortgage professionals, about 1,000 people in the audience. I asked, who here is 100% confident in what you're doing in real estate and finance today? No hands went up. People are looking around at each other. And I said, well, how do you think our clients feel? If we're just waiting for our clients to figure out, you know what, I think I should sell, I think I should buy, I think I should move up or down or buy an investment property, they're not going to do that. And for the very few who actually end up doing that, we've already lost our value proposition. Now they can pick whomever they want. They can pick whatever realtor they want. They can pick whatever lender they want, and then just find the cheapest one, because the hard part's already done. If we're adopting hundreds, if not thousands of clients and helping each one of them plan for that, because we are suggesting it and showing them why it makes sense, then we just work with them towards that transaction at some point. That's the future of our, either got to be that or go work for Quicken or whoever the cheapest is. All right, I'm going to stop there. David says, no, we have a post-closing script for clients. However, is there a post-closing PowerPoint presentation in the AoH platform we can get? Or are you only going to give them a refresher of the AoH website? Dave, we don't have anything right now. What I'd recommend is just a combination of, this document to go over it with them. But really the most important thing, in my opinion, would be to show them this, right? Because then you can click into each one of these and be like, look at this home concierge service. Look at what it's going to do for you, right? Look at this real estate wealth digest, right? Look how awesome that is. You're going to want to see that every month, right? This is what we're going to do. So I think this is the best thing to do because it's, you can maneuver it and play around. It's not a static thing. So this is what I would always recommend using for not only your consultation, but your visual post-closing call component. All right, let me stop the share. Questions, comments, feedback, thoughts, ideas. We got 8 minutes left. I'd love to hear from y'all. Do our realtor partners need to be AoH members for us to adopt their clients? No, they do not. It's a good question. I'm going to be teaching a class next Tuesday for our team about all the things you need to be doing in the second half of 2022 to really light your business on fire. One of those is, we're all talking to real estate agents and financial planners and all these referral partners, and we're saying as close to them as we can, being like, hey, you haven't referred me anybody, like what's going on? And they're like, I don't really have anyone to refer you, right? Buyers are scared, they can't afford to buy things, sellers don't know what to do. As opposed to trying to stay close to people to get you to the people you actually want to talk to, just go to the people you want to talk to, right? Like go to every realtor and say, hey, I want to go to work for you, right? Show them exactly what I just showed you and say, how many of your clients do you think would benefit from having an equity analysis plan right now, from having a financial transition plan conversation, from getting all of these services that we can adopt, right? Like that's what we should be offering people right now. If we're just calling people wondering if they want to buy, sell, or refinance their home, an app could do that, right? But what we can do is guidance, advice, planning, education, strategy, tactics, and we never have to sell anything. So my recommendation would be, let's do a video together, send it out to your entire database. You introduce them to me, let them know that we're going to be reaching out to all of them and that encouraging them to take us up on our planning. Nothing to do with sales. Now, David, to your point, if we adopt that database, we don't want to immediately just add everybody to this. That's going to be spammy, right? We want to, we can add them to the CRM and we can start to engage and see who bites. But what we want to do is add the people that we talk to or the people that we engage with on this platform. And then if the agent wants to be co-branded in all the things that we do through Art of Homeownership or Neo Experience, then they have to sign up because it's a RESPA violation for us to give it to them without them paying for their version of it. And it's $2.99 a month for $300 a month for all of their clients to get all of these services. If somebody doesn't want to invest in that, it strikes me as odd. We'll put it that way, kindly. What other questions or comments do y'all have, team? Thoughts, ideas, strategies? I always feel like the micro machine guy when I get done with these things. All right, well, I guess we will give you guys 5 minutes back. Thank you all for being here. Again, this should be a really exciting time for you. I know it's a bit of a struggle, right? It's challenging to find homeowners who can qualify and who are excited to buy a home, especially because they're concerned that home prices are going to come down. It's challenging for people to think about selling, even though almost every human being who owns a home is considering selling right now because they don't want to not sell at the top. Everyone wants to sell at the top. And if they feel like they may be missing the top, these are conversations you should be having. So please, please, please focus on the activities, but the activities should be 90% talking to people, consumers, right? Maybe 10% getting your realtor partners and your referral partners to make those introductions. But the best thing you can do is talk to as many human beings as possible right now, get them signed up onto your platform, have them be utilizing the app, do strategy sessions with them. And I promise you, the opportunity to help those families will show up. All right. Appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for being here. See you soon.